Hey, I'm Kev Kermister, and welcome to Power Oversteer, the world most watched show on the ElusiveKev channel. And yes, it looks a bit different. I've decided to make a bit of a difference from the preview shows and review shows. So this is how the preview shows will look from now on. No more bum versions of the show. We actually got desk here and everything. And the review shows will be recorded in the other room like they have been for, well, since the beginning. So yeah, that's the new look, and hopefully it means I can get these videos out a bit earlier on the previews as well. I do apologise for this being a bit late on the old Thursday, and hopefully the review should can, be earlier as well, even though I tend to be busy at the weekend. So yes, let's talk about what we're going to talk about in this episode. We are talking about IndyCar, the first Power to come IndyCar for a couple of months in Sao Paulo, but we are previewing the Pocono 400 or IndyCar 400, and it's the return to the track for the first time since 1989 when Danny Sullivan won his Penske from his teammate Rick Mears, both Indy 500 winners and series champions as well. So it's been 24 years since then. There's been some testing in the build up to this event, and the drivers seem very happy with this track. And times from practice this morning, or practice which is going on now I think in America, have been around the 215 mile per hour mark. It's been the average speed. That is 4 miles per hour faster than the 211 mile per hour lap done by Emerson Fittipaldi to get pole there in 1989. So it looks like we're going to get some faster laps this time around, you would think so, after 24 years of development as well. But going into this race though, the standings are always close at the top. Harry Cashinevers leads in his Penske with 332 points. He leads Ryan Hunter-Reay, the reigning champion, and the Andretti Autosport driver, with 323 points, and he's getting on that roll again. Been second, first and second in the last 3 races. Marco Andretti, his Andretti Autosport teammate, with 277 points in third. James Hinchcliffe, who convincingly won in Iowa last time out, leading 224 laps out of the 250 available, and got pole, and not got pole, he got into the lead early on and just dominated that race. He's on 266 points, 11 behind Marco. And Tony Kanaan in the KV racing machine on the podium at Iowa for the 4th year in a row last time out, 253 points. Simon Pagenaud in the Smith, Hamilton, Peterson, HP Motorsports machine, I think I got it right for once, with 241 points, 1 point ahead of Scott Dixon and Chip Ganassi machine. Takuma Sato down to 8th with 233 points, 227 points for Justin Wilson in the Del Coyne racing machine, and rounding out the top 10, Will Power in the Penske machine. We didn't think it'd be that though, with only 209 points, 123 behind his Brazilian teammate. Just outside the top 10, EJ Viso, Dario Franchitti, Ed Carpenter, another great run in Iowa, and he got the fastest lap there. Charlie Kimball, Graham Rahal, good top 5 finish last time out in Iowa. Joseph Newgarden, James Jake, Simone Di Silvestro, Oyo Serbia, who's not in the National Guard car this time out despite a good top 10 finish in Iowa. And Tristan Volte in 20th. And this is how poor Dragon Racing have been. Sebastian Bourdais in 21st, Alex Tagliani 22nd, and Bourdais' teammate Sebastian Veja at Dragon Racing in 23rd, ahead of Mike Conway. He's only done 3 events, but is only 19 points behind Veja in the standings. Dreadful time for Dragon Racing. So we've done some talking about the standings. Let's actually do some track facts. So track facts for the Pocono Indycar 400, fueled by Sunoco. Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania, America. It's 2.5 miles long. Its first race for IndyCar there was in 1971 by Mark Donohue in a Penske Racing McLaren chassis off-engined car, and race time there was 3 hours 36 minutes, and the average speed was 138.649 miles per hour for the first event. And IndyCar continued going there until 1989. As I said, that last event there won by Danny Sullivan in his Penske Racing machine with a Chevrolet engine. I wonder if that's going to be replicated this weekend with the Penske Chevrolets of Power and Castro Nevis. And the average speed then is the record there, of course, 170.72 miles per hour, and the race took just under 3 hours to do. So the 2.5 mile Pocono Raceway, let's actually talk about the track first before we go into the history a bit here. So Pocono Raceway, it's an unusual circuit. It is the most famous tri-oval, I think, in America. It has 3 turns. It has a long front straight, a long and wide front straight, over 70 meters wide, that front straight there. And the first turn, it's got 14-degree banking. It is very steep banking there. And then there's another short straight into the second turn, 8-degree banking, just like at Indianapolis, the Motor Speedway, the famous 500 venue. And then there's another short straight before the final turn, which has got 6-degree banking, and it's a bit like the Milwaukee Mile track there with the banking there. So 3 very different turns, 3 very different ways you've probably got to take those corners, but it's always you want to stick to the inside, I would imagine. So as I said, it's a track that is in Pennsylvania, Long Pond. Race was sanctioned by USAC in 1971 to 1981, and by CAR from 1982 to 1989. When it was the Pocono 500, it was 200 laps the distance, and I don't know why they've gone for 160 laps at this time with 400 miles, but hopefully it does go back up to its 500 mile state maybe in later years. It's got a 3-year contract until 2015, this venue. And this race is part of the Triple Crown, the Fuzzy's Premium Vodka Triple Crown, with the Indy 500, this race, and the finale in Fontana. And it's been announced that it's going to be triple wide restarts for this race and in Fontana. So all the Triple Crown races will have triple wide starts, not restarts. It's all single file restarts, but yeah, triple wide starts. So that's going to be very interesting into that heavily banked first turn. Also about this track, most wins, AJ Foyt, the American legend, who's won also Indianapolis 4 times as well. He won it in 73, 75, 79, and the last time in 81 is actually his last victory, or major victory in the series, in his AJ Foyt March Cosworth car. And it was a shortened event, sorry about that. I do have some allergies, so I will do this occasionally, but yeah, this is at the height of the USAC kart split. As I said, USAC sanctioned the event until 1981. Then kart took over from 82. So this 81 event was kind of strange for 41, with kind of a ragtag field of, say, some dirt trackers, of some gold crown cars, or some midgets, or some silver crown cars. And yeah, it was very strange, and rain halted the event just after the halfway point there on 122 laps. And the most successful team here, Penske, with 7 wins. And of course, I said they won the first event with Mark Donohue in 1971. They also won with Tom Seaver in 1977, Bobby Unser in 1980, Rick Mears in 1982, and then in 85 and 87. And also Danny Sullivan won the last event here in 1989 after Emerson Fittipaldi got that pole in his Marlboro sponsored car. So yeah, that is some track facts about Pocono. Good to see it return, and it's good to see how it's much different than the last time it came here. It was taken off the event after the 1989 event because the track was deemed too rough and unsuitable for Indy cars, and you know, it still had like border plate retaining walls, these rock solid concrete walls, lack of catch fencing all the way around. On the IndyCar website or IndyCar YouTube page, they do have the 1989 race there. I'll put a link in the description below. So if you watch that, you will see how so much different the track was back then. And so, you know, decided to take it off, lack of runoff areas and roughness. But this time it's got paved infills, no grass there, and it's got catch fencing, it's got safer barriers. So it's much different. And there's been some, of course, so for those paved inside it, that creates runoff areas as well, so very different. So that is some track facts about Pocono. Let's talk about some predictions for the event. So predictions for the Pocono Indycar 400 or Indycar Pocono 400 or the 400 at Pocono. I do expect Penske to do well, catching obviously in the standings, and Penske have been strong in the longer ovals. One in Texas, top 10 in Indy for Castroneves, so I expect them to do very well here. But the strange thing about this event is no one really knows how anyone's going to go, because it hasn't been on the calendar for such a long time. No one on this list has actually driven here before, I believe, or at least in IndyCar. Well, of course, so it's going to be very interesting. And I know Ryan Briscoe, who's in that National Guard car, and happy 4th of July to any American watchers of this. He's not going to qualify, so he's going to start at the back of the grid because he's doing also the American Le Mans series. He's with Level 5 Motorsport in P2 category there. So he's going to be at Lime Rock Park on Saturday racing, and then he's going to be on a plane to race here on Sunday at Pocono in the National Guard car. And the 4 machine has got very nice paint job. I wish they would do that whole year round. It looks much better, I believe, than the normal one, but you know. So yeah, Castroneves and Power I expect to do well. Power's been actually quite strong in the oval. He's been a bit stronger on the ovals than the road courses, and his finishing positions kind of suggest this: 3rd in Milwaukee, 7th in Texas, qualified 6th at Indy before falling back in the race. So yeah, maybe watch Power to do well there as well. Maybe expect Chip Ganassi to also be there. There might be a track where the stronger teams or the bigger teams such as Penske, Chip Ganassi, Andretti Autosport might be up there a lot. Maybe KV Racing, of course. Kanan won the Indy 500, did very well in Texas as well, came 3rd, so look out for him as well. So there's also maybe, as I said, Chip Ganassi with Dixon, with Frank Kitty, who's top 10. He had a run of 4 top 10s until that Iowa event, so he's getting back on form here, Frank Kitty. That's good to see. But what about a dark horse for this event? Well, I might go for Graham Rahal. I might go for the Rahal Letterman team here. James Jakes as well. Jakes has been perhaps one of the best drivers this year, or most improved driver this year. He's really upped his form. Of course, came 2nd in the second Detroit duel, and he did really well in Iowa. Just wasn't really rewarded for that. So yeah, maybe note for James Jakes to be out there, and Graham Rahal top 5 last time out in Iowa, much needed top 5. He's going to be in the hunt for that top 10 place in the standings. So yeah, that's some of my predictions. I expect maybe Castroneves or Dixon to win this event. Of course, the Andretti Autosport cars right behind them, because they do really well this year. So yeah, let me know your predictions in the comments below. This has been a preview of the IndyCar Pocono 400, or Pocono Indycar 400. I got it right eventually, so hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back with a preview of the German Grand Prix this weekend as well. So out for watching. So till next Power Oversteer, cheerio.